1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Good evening. This is VK3 EKH, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria with the regular Friday night broadcast. coming to you from the studios of VK3CSJ in Narre Warren South. We're broadcasting on the prime frequency of 3541 kilohertz in the 80 metre amateur radio band, lower sideband, and also via the Melbourne Television ATV repeater, VK3RTV, digital channel 1. And we're also streaming via my YouTube channel, VK3CSJ. Just look for the live indicator on YouTube. But also, more importantly, we're now broadcasting in HD on my Discord channel. And that information can be found at the VK3EKHQRZ.com page, the link to Discord, and there's a link to be able to see the stream, which is just less than a second delay to what you're hearing on 80 metres, which is far better than what YouTube is doing. So I'll be promoting Discord quite a bit over this year. Anyway, welcome to everybody that's tuned in tonight, if there is anybody. I've taken quite a long sabbatical this Christmas, this break. I was meant to come back last week. My apologies for not doing that. So if you're all hanging out for me last Friday, sorry about that. But we're back tonight, and we'll try and make sure that we kick off with of some value. So yes, so we're on 80 metres and on Discord and on YouTube and the Melbourne Television repeater, which I can see up there. So it's all working fine. Anyway, all right. Happy New Year to everybody for what it's worth. It's a bit late, but nevertheless, there it is. Tomorrow's the first of a new month. And how quick that last few weeks have gone past. How quick it is. Before we know it, it will be Christmas yet again. All right. We have an email address too, vk3ekh@gmail.com, vk3ekh@gmail.com, if you wish to send signal reports and just to let me know that the audio level is right, or if it needs to be upped a bit. I think everything's okay. My Pro 3 that I use for 80 metres has been playing up. It's working okay at the moment, but it takes about a good 5 minutes for it to come good when I first turn it on. So there's something a little bit skew-if going on with that. And I'm hoping that I don't upset the modem. I've done a little bit of a trick with the gateway input to the modem, and I'm hoping that that's filtering out any potential RF that might be coming onto the line, upsetting the modem. So if by the end of the night, this hour, the modem doesn't fall over, then it must be working, hopefully. All right. Let's just kick off with the ASV, for those that might not know. Let me see, where am I here? Yeah, I guess go straight to there, I suppose. All right. The ASV is a non-profit society for people interested in astronomy, attracting and catering for people from a wide range of ages and backgrounds, abilities and interests. First formed in 1922, the society has grown to over 1,000 members. Actually, I think it's about 1,800 members at the moment. Its activities are coordinated by a council of elected office bearers, section directors and ordinary councillors. The ASV has weekly activities at our two metropolitan locations at the Morley Community Village and the Melbourne Observatory. And we host monthly Astro Talks, which is coming up in a couple of weeks' time. There's an Astro Talk, which I'll mention in a minute, at the National Herbarium near the Melbourne Observatory. The Society's library is also located at the Melbourne Observatory and is open during our Astro Talks. For over 50 years, the ASV has played a major role in the care of the buildings and facilities at the Melbourne Observatory. Our members conduct astronomy for the people gatherings throughout the year, bringing telescopes and astronomy to Melbourne's parks and schools. For more information about when these events occur, you can check the calendar on the ASV's webpage. The ASV is currently involved in a number of major activities or projects. We are involved in the restoration of the Great Melbourne Telescope and are also currently working on the installation of a series of remote telescopes at our dark sky site, which once completed will be accessible to members for their use. Most of that, as far as I know, is now actually online and now functional. Thanks to the generous donation of one of the most long-standing and respected members, the Leon Mao Dark Sky site located north of Melbourne has a pristine night sky for deep sky observing. The ASV has a 25-inch telescope, a 40-inch telescope, and a wheelchair-accessible 16-inch telescope at the Leon Mao Dark Sky site, LMDSS, and makes use of the existing telescopes at the Melbourne Observatory during some section meetings, and particularly at members' nights held once a month at the observatory. There's also a fully functional 8.5 metre radio telescope also operating at the Dark Sky site. An annual yearbook is supplied to members as well as a bi-monthly newsletter called Crux, which all members are welcome to contribute to. The ASV logo shows the Southern Cross and the pointers, and it has a Latin motto, which once translated is "This way to the stars." The ASV is governed by a set of rules, of course, which should be read before applying for membership. The document can be downloaded from the website. Any person or organisation with an interest in astronomy may apply for membership of the Society. And there are 20 sections, I think, that make up the ASV. Actually, let's just go back to that last one. That'll do. We have the astrophotography section, the club section, comet and meteor section, computing section, cosmology and astrophysics, deep sky, historical section, instrument making, juniors, lunar and planetary, new astronomers group, something called radio astronomy, solar astronomy, space exploration, and women in the ASV. So if any of those particular sections that sound of any value of interest to you, if you go to the ASV website and click on sections, each of those sections has an individual page which should have contact details for the section director or team lead, and you can contact them. And if you wish just to come in on a Zoom meeting, if they have a Zoom meeting happening or an actual physical meeting somewhere, I'm sure the section director will be happy to invite you along with the intention of becoming a member of the ASV. But of course, you need to see whether that's to your liking, of course, before parting with the dollars. ASV membership is all done via the website. If you go to the home page, you can see where it says join now, and you can do it all that way. It's all PayPal now, so it makes it easy. Okay. Now, coming up this month is in the Astro Talk, and this is really worthwhile because we've got a big bloke. Not physically, but I mean, he's a pretty important person. He's actually done. He's been and done a few presentations at the ASV over the last few years, and he looks like they've got him back again. Although it does say to be advised, so I'm not too sure how iffy that is. But anyway, on February the 12th. Wednesday, February the 12th, which is the February monthly meeting. They've got Professor Matthew Bales. I've spelled his surname wrong here. Professor Matthew Bales will explore the world of fast radio bursts and share with us his knowledge in the field. Professor Matthew Bales is a former Australian Research Council Laureate Fellow and Director of the Australian Research Council Centre of Excellence for Gravitational Wave Discovery, or AUSGRAV. He is a world leader in the discovery and timing of millisecond pulses and has made pivotal contributions to the discovery of fast radio bursts, millisecond duration bursts of radio waves, and that strike the Earth many thousand of times per day and are unknown origin. In 2023, this was recognised when he was awarded the Shaw Prize in Astronomy. Following Matthew's talk, we'll be hearing from Bill Stent, affectionately known as the telescope gent, about what is in the sky for February and March this year. So that's all happening at the Mulia Hall, Burwood Avenue at the Royal Botanic Gardens, not too far from the Shrine of Remembrance. They're suggesting here to please try to arrive early, around 7:45, because generally the monthly meetings kick off at 8 o'clock on the noggin, and the aim is to finish up by 10 o'clock. So they televise this over their dedicated YouTube channel and also on their Facebook channel as well. So if you can't make it, it's a free talk. You can just wander in. You don't have to be a member. You can wander into these public meetings. But you can't make it into Melbourne, then of course, like I say, you can view it on YouTube. I will most likely, like I have been doing, televising the YouTube link over the Melbourne television repeater. So if for those that are watching RTV and my Discord channel, I'll run it there as well, just because I can. But it will be quite interesting to listen to Professor Matthew Bales talking about fast radio bursts on the 12th of February, which is not that far away. All right, there's a few other things there I could mention too, but like I said, just explore the website. I note that they've got a thing happening. Where was that? Just quickly going through the banner. Weekend Under the Stars, March 28 to 31st. Gippsland Star Party at Echo Bend. Echo Bend, where's that? The Envelope Under the Stars, March 21 to 22 at 9 p.m. at the Elijah Lookout at Envelope. And then there is something called Stellar Nights at the Melbourne Observatory. New dates coming soon. This is all on being mentioned on the banner, the revolving banner on the homepage, so you can catch up with it there. Tickets for the Messier Star Party is now a happening thing. It's open to the public as well, this one. General public ticket. You need to get a ticket from March 1st. That's up at the Heathcote location, the Dark Sky side at Heathcote. Then there's a little bit later in the year is the Mildura Star Party at the 25th and the 26th of April at Sunraysia Gliding Club Airfield at Mildura. They've got some star party happening up there. And then there's also a Sea Star giveaway. Join the ASV. This is the proviso. Join the ASV between December 10, 2024 to December 10, 2025. So you got a whole year for your chance to win a ZWO Sea Star S50. There's no more information other than that. There's quite a few people buying these little Sea Star telescopes. I don't know a whole lot about them, but they're it's just a bit like a camera on a tripod, which has got ability to track celestial objects, and So far, some of the results I'm seeing from these C-star telescopes is fairly impressive, providing, I guess, you're in a good location too. But nevertheless, they've got some sort of C-star giveaway happening probably at the Christmas star party this year. Anyway, like I say, explore the ASV website for more information about that. Okay. Now, because it's coming up to the 1st of February, we have the Sky Notes, courtesy of Science Works Planetarium. I believe that Tanya Hill still provides these Sky Notes. She's the resident astronomer at Science Works, the Museum Victoria. And let's see what we've got here. Oh, actually, there's some pictures there I didn't download. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay, they're starting off the Sky Notes with is the moon mostly Earth material after all? Is the moon mostly Earth material after all? Contrary to the current theory of the moon forming principally from debris of a protoplanet, Theia, colliding with the early Earth, a new study suggests the moon may actually be mostly Earth material with little contribution from the colliding body. Improved analysis techniques of lunar samples and Earth minerals has revealed a much closer similarity of oxygen flavors or isotopes in Earth's mantle and the moon's crust as would be expected if the moon was principally Earth ejectica. Right, so they start off talking about that. Then followed by another auroral light show. There's a photograph here of the Aurora Australis, but I forgot to download that and put it across, but I think you can imagine what I'm looking at. They say here that our correspondent Julian has captured not only the aurora but also at the lower centre of the pointers Alpha and Beta Centauri, leading to an inverted southern cross at the left in this image, which I didn't download that to show. But they're talking about the reddish glow from nitrogen molecules in the upper atmosphere being energized by the collisions with high energy particles from the solar wind, funneled into the polar regions of our planet's dynamic magnetic field. The effect creates a fluctuating phenomenon not unlike curtains moving in a gentle breeze. So they're talking about that. Now they're going straight into the Melbourne Sun Times. Tomorrow, the 1st of February, Saturday, the sun will rise at 6:33 a.m, setting at 8:33 p.m. On Tuesday the 11th, sunrise will be at 6:45, setting at 8:23. Friday the 21st of February, the sunrise will be at 6:55, setting at 8:10. And by the end of the month, Friday the 28th, sunrise will be at 7:03 a.m, setting at 8:01 p.m. So our days are getting shorter ever slightly. Moon phases. There's a first quarter on the 5th, Wednesday the 5th, first quarter. There's a full moon on Thursday the 13th. There's a third quarter phase happening on Friday the 21st. And then there's a new moon happening on Friday the 28th. Moon distances. The lunar apogee furthest from the Earth is happening on Tuesday the 18th at a distance of 404,882 kilometres. Then on Sunday the 2nd of February, there's the lunar perigee, which is closest to the Earth, at 367,457 kilometres. Planets. Okay. There has been a thing just recently about planets in the sky. Media love to, and special social media love to hype it up and make it sound like a star alignment. it kind of conjures up the idea that the stars, the planets are all in a nice straight line type configuration. It's not the case at all. It just so happens that some of the planets happen to be in the view all at the same time, but not necessarily in an alignment. So what Tanya Hill is saying here is target 6 planets. Last month's skies featured, and this month 4 planets are at once will continue to be visible at Melbourne's latitude from around 10 p.m. I'll just read that sentence again. Last month's skies featured, and this month 4 planets at once will continue to be visible at Melbourne's latitude from around 10 p.m. Saturn, Venus, very low in the west, Jupiter in the north, and Mars in the northeast. So you can see what I mean. It's that they're in view, but not necessarily in a straight line or any kind of alignment as such. At the same time, in the northwest, a telescope should show faint Uranus. I heard a different pronunciation of that the other day. I grew up saying Uranus, but I like Uranus. But I heard another pronunciation of that the other day. Uranus. Maybe that's what it was. Uranus. Anyway, Uranus and possibly much fainter Neptune. With the planets in orbit around the Sun at different distances and hence different speeds, faster for those closer to the Sun compared to the slower ones further out, our view at night can capture one of 2 planets, sometimes several and occasionally more. Mercury is very close to the Sun, and although in our skies just before sunrise and after sunset, it will be very difficult to see after a recent passage behind the Sun in its solar conjunction. Venus remains visible from around 8:40 p.m. in the evening in the west at twilight before it sets by 10 p.m. Its times will be a little earlier each evening as the month progresses. But Venus is a very, very bright object in the western sky at the moment. It's almost blinding. Mars has passed opposition but remains clear in the northeast from 8:40 p.m. before the red planet sets in the northwest by 3 a.m. It too will appear as a little earlier each night during the month. Jupiter remains visible this month from 8:40 p.m. in the north before setting by 1:30 a.m. in the west. And Saturn is drawing close to the Sun in our skies and is not visible as it about to move behind the Sun in its solar conjunction. Meteors. The Alpha Centaurids and Beta Centaurids are active from the 2nd to the 25th, peaking on the 8th. They are different, but it is difficult to distinguish between them. Occurring low in the south near the 2 pointers, they are not strong showers, but often have fireballs and persistent trails. 25 per hour can occur, but 6 per hour has been the norm of recent times. The Alpha Centaurids and the Beta Centaurids. Stars and constellations. If you turn your chair to the eastern sky, high in the sky is Sirius, the brightest star at night, and the principal star in Canis Major, or the Greater Dog. This is one of Orion's 2 hunting dogs, which is why Sirius is also referred to as the Dog Star. Directly below Sirius is the star Procyon, which marks the location of Canis Minor in Orion's smaller dog. Many cultures have recognized the first evening appearance of Ceres as marking a special time during the year for religious, agricultural, or other reasons. It sits 8.6 light years away, making it the fifth nearest system to us, and its energy output reflects a name appropriately derived from the Greek Sirios, meaning glowing or scorching. Sirius is, however, a binary system. Sirius A is twice the mass of our Sun, almost 17 times as large and 25 times as luminous. Small, faint Sirius B, however, is a white dwarf about the size and mass as the Earth, and is the remnant core of a star that was once similar to our Sun. Sirius A and B orbit their mutual centre of mass every 50 years, and in a good telescope you can make them out. In the northwest, directly north, lies Orion, the Hunter, seen in the southern hemisphere upside down. The famous three stars of his belt are Mintaka, El-Linam and El-Nitak. They're those names. From his belt and going up right is a line of stars which forms the sword, in the centre of which is the beautiful Orion Nebula, a vast stellar nursery 1,500 light years from us. Upper left in the Orion is the blue-white supergiant star Regal, which marks one of his feet, and the lower right is the red supergiant Betelgeuse, one of his shoulders. Orion's three belt stars also marks the base of the southern hemisphere Sulspian asterism, the Pot. To the northwest is the open star cluster Hyades, which is 153 which is 153 light years away, and forms the inverted V of the head of Taurus the bull. The red giant star Aldebaran at its lower right corner is much closer to us at 65 light years. To the left is the Pleiades, a close cluster of young blue stars 430 light years from us. These stars are formed together and are generally bound together under their mutual gravitational attraction. Although over millions of years it is expected that the cluster will disperse, also known as the Seven Sisters, and for many cultures across the world they represent a group of women. Now, turning to the southwest, the Southern Cross and the two pointers, Alpha and Beta Centauri, are low in the southeast. In the southwest are the two small nearby galaxies, the Magellanic Clouds, named in honour of the 16th century explorer Ferdinand Magellan, who embarked on the first circumnavigation of the globe. They look like faint, fuzzy patches, but are best seen away from city lights. I do remember being able to clearly see them from Dandenong about 50 years ago, but not so well now. Arching across the night sky and slowly wheeling as the Earth rotates during the night to the east is the majestic Milky Way, with billions and billions of distant stars of our galaxy. In visible light, our view of the galaxy is largely restricted to our local spiral arm, which is one of the several that sit in the disk of the galaxy. We are looking edge-on into that flat disk of billions of stars. By contrast, the two darker sides of the night sky are view out of the galactic plane. In those directions, we see far fewer stars for a few thousand light years before intergalactic space begins. Okay, International Space Station. The International Space Station orbits every 90 minutes 90 minutes at an average distance of 400 kilometres above the Earth. It appears like a bright star moving slowly across the night sky. Some bright passes are below. Yeah, that's right. That's what it says here. Some bright passes are mentioned here for the Melbourne region. On the morning of Wednesday, the 5th of February, there's a passing starts at 6:04 to 6:10 a.m. coming in from the southwest to the northeast. Then on the evening of Thursday the 6th of February, there's a passing at 9:54 p.m. to 9:58 p.m. northwest to east. Then Sunday the 9th, starting at 8:59 p.m. to 9:06 northwest to southeast. And then by the end of the month, on the 26th of February, Wednesday the 26th, there's a passing at 9:02 p.m. to 9:08 p.m. southwest to east-northeast. To get an idea, of course, where to see these predictions or when other passings are possible, of course, there's a great little website called heavensabove.com. There's a little hyphen that they have between heavens and above, but if you just type in heavens above, you'll find the page. Heavens Above gives predictions for visible passes of space stations and major satellites, live sky views and 3D visualizations. Be sure first to enter your location in the configuration file for accurate details. 10:31. It's the half an hour is going pretty quick. I know the Sky Notes always do this. The first half hour goes real quick. There's a few dates here, but I'll just mention the first few. On the 1st of February 2003, the Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrated on re-entry, killing all 7 astronauts and halting the shuttle space program for over 2 years. Also on the 1st of February 1970, US astronomer Vera Rubin finds evidence of dark matter by studying the motion of stars and galaxy rotation not consistent with Newton's laws. On the 3rd of February 1966, Luna 9, USSR, made the first soft landing on the moon and sent first panoramic images of the Ocean of Storms. On the 4th of February 1967, Lunar Orbiter 3 launches to the moon to select Apollo landing sites. On the 5th of February 1963, Dutch astronomer Martin Schmidt discovers quasars, quasi-stellar radio sources. They're some of the brightest radio sources in the sky. But on the 7th of February 1979, Pluto moves inside Neptune's orbit for the first time since its 1930 discovery. On the 8th of February 1969, the Alende meteorite, the largest carbonaceous meteorite found, lands near the village of Alende in Mexico. On the 9th of February 1986, the first module of the Mir space station, USSR, is launched into Earth orbit. Also on the 9th of February 1986, the last visit of Halley Comet, met by a flotilla of probes, notably ESA's Giotto, with Comet's return due mid-2061. That's when Halley's Comet is coming back again. Comet Halley, mid-2061. I don't think I'll be around for that. This will be the last date for the moment. Which was I? Oh, yeah. Also on the 9th of February, 1473, the birth of Nicholas Canopicus. I'm saying that wrong. Capricornus, Capricornus, famous for his sun-centered theory on the revolutions of the celestial spheres, 1543, which triggered the Copernican, that's it, revolution. Copernican. These words. All right, I'm going to go away from that now. Get on to some of these other articles before this next half hour is up. I've got a report from Tamitha, I should say. Timothy Scove's got a solar report, so I'm going to squeeze that in. It only goes for 8 minutes, so I've got to keep an eye on the time for that. Okay, where am I now? Sky Notes, Comet. Okay, all right, just a very brief rundown on the comet that's been in our skies over the last few weeks. G3 Atlas, a red comet streaking across Australia. Skies for the first time in 160,000 years. I've got a couple of images here of this that's been taken by folks. Let me bring up the first one here. This one here will do. So it's been a little bit tricky to find. I actually haven't been able to view it myself, but it's essentially like that for those watching the TV repeater or my YouTube and Discord. Let me have just a quick look at Discord while I'm thinking about it. Oh, yeah, we've got a few folks there. We've got Tom Hanks waving at me for some reason. So g'day to Brett, VK2CBD, Mike, 3XL, and Steve, VK3SPX is all there on Discord. Welcome, guys. And Tom Hanks waving at me. Yes, there's that's Comet Atlas, and there's another image here as well, taken by a local astronomer. So when you've got the camera set up right, and the exposure just a little bit longer than normal, this is what you can achieve. The rare G3 Atlas comet has returned to our galaxy for a once-in-a-lifetime event and is now visible from Australia and across the southern hemisphere. Only discovered in April 2024, G3 Atlas orbit is being closely monitored by NASA after it emerged, and a handful of Aussies have managed to sight it from Earth. A Dr. Rebecca Allen, co-director of the Space Technology and Industry Institute at Swinburne University, said that the next couple of days will present the best view in Australia. That was a couple of days ago. Comet G3 Atlas has survived its closest approach with our sun and is now headed back to the outer solar system, with a bright tail stretching 100 something of kilometres. The next few days will offer a short window to view the comet before it becomes too faint. To have a chance at spotting it, head out just after sunset. You'll need a good view of the southwestern horizon and clear skies. Look for the extended tail pointing towards the horizon below the bright planet Venus. G3 Atlas has the potential to be the brightest comet in our solar system into 2024, and it won't be seen again for another 800,000 years. What else do they say here? I'll leave it at that, but I'll just quickly show a couple of other pictures here. There's this one, which is more like what you're likely to see if you're viewing it from Melbourne, with the amount of dirt in the sky, pollution. But if you got a good view of the southwest, that's kind of what it should look like. This is roughly the position in the sky at the moment. That chart that's on the screen right now is January 29. At about 20 minutes to 10. So, the comet is still quite visible if you've got a good view of the sky out towards the southwest. So it's still a possibility of seeing it. All right, so let's move along. This is VK3EKH. I forgot to mention that. This is VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria. And blast Facebook. I had a page open just because I've now refreshed it. I've lost it. Wouldn't that bother you? One thing that I might mention, in the recent fires out at Little Desert, it's a bit sad, this actually. Perry Valahos on his astronomy page on Facebook mentions that it's really sad news as the fires at Vic South. He says I read the news this morning with a heavy heart to discover that the bushfires have claimed the magnificent Little Desert National Nature Lodge near Nil. This is the venue for hosting the wonderful Vic South Desert Spring Star Party, an annual gathering of astronomers from Victoria and South Australia in the Little Desert to enjoy some of the darkest skies in Victoria, perfect for making superlative observations of celestial objects. The good news is, though, that the owners and staff managed to escape the fires and all are healthy and safe. But despite this devastation, Vic South will rise again from the ashes like the legendary phoenix, Perry writes. But for as long as I know, the Vic South Star Party has been a regular annual thing, and that's exactly where it was held, at the Little Desert Nature Lodge near Nil, which made it in the news as being destroyed. I haven't seen any images of it since it was ravaged by the fire. I don't know how bad it's been destroyed, but a bit sad to hear that. So there it is. Okay, I think that's it on that one. All right, let's go across. Get rid of that picture on the screen there. Okay, the next story here quickly. Some of you might recognise this fellow. NASA administrator steps down. Now, this guy has been administrator with NASA for such a long time, and of course NASA's been doing all good things, but you can blame it on Trump. NASA's administrator steps down, urges continuity under a new leadership. What can I say? In a letter to this replacement, outgoing NASA leader Bill Nielsen emphasises the agency's activities transcend the length of a single administration. NASA Administrator Bill Nielsen stepped down on Monday, the 20th of Jan, after President Donald Trump was inaugurated, and departing Space Agency chief had some words of advice for his replacement. In a letter addressed to the next NASA administrator, who, if Trump's nomination is confirmed, will be a shift for CEO and SpaceX ally Jared Isaacman, Nielsen highlighted the space agency's work during his tenure and urged continuity. He emphasised NASA's responsibility to return Americans to the moon and land them on Mars for the first time. He says, "I am rooting for you. Your success in NASA's success, and NASA's success is the nation's success," Nelson wrote. "I am at your service to help in any way that I can," he says. In particular, Nelson lauded NASA's Artemis program, a series of planned missions to the moon and eventually Mars that took shape during Trump's first term. During Nelson's tenure, the agency launched Artemis 1, the uncrewed inaugural mission of the campaign. Nielsen also laid a foundation for future Artemis missions, including a return to the moon scheduled for mid-2027. By commissioning new lunar landers, rovers and spacesuits. In his view, it only makes sense to build on that foundation. "We are merely temporary stewards for this extraordinary space agency," Nielsen wrote. "The work we do, the missions we launch, they transcend the length of a single administration and a single administrator. Not everything has gone the way Nielsen has planned or wanted. Artemis 3, for example, has slipped from 2025 to mid-2027 due to a litany of issues. The program is also estimated to be billions of dollars over budget, which could be significant given Isaacman's comments that NASA Space Launch System, SLS, the launch vehicle for Artemis missions, is outrageously expensive." Nielsen encouraged Isaacman, who, after purchasing 4 orbital missions from SpaceX and flying on 2, is arguably the company's latest private customer, to continue leaning on commercial partnerships to get the job done. Powered by these commercial and international partnerships, NASA will continue to propel American leadership and American values forward on Earth, in the skies, and in the stars, outgoing administrator wrote. Nielsen was appointed by former President Joe Biden in May 2021 after spending 18 years in the US Senate and 12 in the White House, I gather, serving as a chairman of both chambers' subcommittees on science and space. Previously, he flew aboard the Space Shuttle Columbia on the STS-61C mission in 1986. In addition to making progress on Artemis, Nielsen's term saw the launch of 8 commercial crews to the International Space Station on SpaceX Dragon capsules. His administration launched the largest spacecraft ever developed for the planetary mission, Europa Clipper, to study the Jupiter's icy moon. The James Webb Space Telescope, the most massive, powerful and complex telescope ever launched, and the first 3 commercial lunar payload services missions to the moon, one of which achieved the first lunar landing by a commercial-built vehicle. Nielsen was in charge as NASA collected samples on Mars with its Perseverance rover and on asteroids through the IRIS-REx mission, and he oversaw the first controlled flight on another planet with the Ingenuity Mars helicopter, which under his watch, NASA revealed the design of the X-59 supersonic aircraft and begun work on the X-66, a unique airframe being developed by Boeing that is expected to reduce fuel consumption and emissions. So there it is. He had a lot to do with NASA over these last few years, and he's just decided to step down because of the change of government over there. I don't blame him. But anyway, so farewell to Bill Nielsen there, and of course the new person is Gerard Isaacman, which I don't have a picture of, but that's okay. All right, you're tuned to ASV Radio VK3 EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria. And let me just go back to this one here. Let's see, what time is it? Okay. Next article was going to be that one. I might just put that on hold a bit. And of course, the other thing that we've been hearing lately is the 2 astronauts that are kind of stranded on the International Space Station. I've got a picture of these 2 guys. Where are they? There it is. Come on, click on it. There it is. Okay. Right. Trump asks Elon Musk to return 2 Starliner astronauts from the International Space Station for NASA, but they already have a SpaceX ride home. Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore are scheduled to return to Earth on a Crew Dragon capsule this spring. Already planned, already scheduled. Well, this is something of a head scratcher, they say. On Tuesday evening, January 28, President Trump announced that he has another task for SpaceX founder and CEO Elon Musk, who is already leading cost regulation cutting effort called the Department of Governmental Efficiency. He says, I have just asked Elon Musk and SpaceX to go get the 2 brave astronauts who have been virtually abandoned in space by the Biden administration. They have been waiting for many months on space station. Elon will soon be on his way. Hopefully all will be safe. Good luck, Elon, says Trump. And yeah, so once again, he's just pushing the point. I'll leave it there, really, on that story. So watch the space, as they say, and we'll just see how quickly they can get these guys back down to the planet. I tell you what, everything's politicized these days. All right. Let me just see if I can cue up Tamitha. All right, there she is. And hang on, let me bring up my caption first. And then cue up Tamitha. So this is, oops, not that one. So this is her report. And if everything goes to plan, I just got to press this button and we should go okay with this, hopefully.
fast solar wind from some dark coronal holes are going to give us another chance for aurora. And big solar flares could be on the rise again as new regions rotate into Earth view. Those stories and more are in this week's Spotlight. If you want to learn how weather from our star causes impacts at the Earth that shape the future of our world, join Professors Dr. Jenny Meehan, Michael Cook, and myself as we guide you through a space weather certificate program like no other. To enroll in the Space Weather and Environment Science program offered at Millersville University, go to millersville.edu/SWEN. It's weather for the 21st century. This forecast also sponsored in part by CW Ops. Space weather this week picks up in unexpected ways. As we take a look at our Earth-facing disk, we do have a lot of active regions in Earth view that are rotating to the west limb, but believe it or not, this side of the sun is actually the boring side. The more interesting side is actually coming up closer to the east limb. In fact, as we watch this filament, take a look at this very dense filament here. Right about early on the 26th, you can watch it launch, whoosh, in a gorgeous display. Here's the replay with Subi. I'm going to pause it right there. You can actually see how incredibly dense this structure was. Now, this is not an Earth-directed solar storm, but it does remind us that these filaments can be very, very dense, and if they were to be Earth-directed, they could give us a decent solar storm, so we have to keep our eyes on them. But believe it or not, that's not even the whole story, because really where we're looking at with why this whole region kind of erupted is because we've got these massive coronal holes both in the north and in the south. These coronal holes are sending some fast solar wind, which kind of makes this kind of an unstable bed, so no wonder the filament got up and left, right? Meanwhile, these regions are likely going to merge over this next solar rotation or so, so expect to see a trans-equatorial coronal hole here over this next 27 days, and this is going to start giving us some fast solar wind in a repetitive basis over probably the next 6 months. We're going to see fast solar wind basically every 2 weeks. As this coronal hole rotates through center disk, you can see how large it is. It's a very well-formed coronal hole, and we're going to get some fast solar wind that's going to last probably 2 to 3 days looking at the width of this thing. So aurora photographers, if you're at high latitudes, you're definitely going to get an extended show. We might even see aurora coming down into mid-latitudes for a little while, which will also give us a nice show, possibly even some red aurora, depending upon how fast the solar wind is from this region. Now, as we look beyond it, we also have some new regions that are rotating into Earth view. These new regions are actually a bit more flare active. We've already seen a little bit of more flare activity than we have over this past week. And as we take a look at our far side from the JSOC HMI helioseismology far-sighted viewer, we take a look. This is the Earth side of the sun in gray. The far side is in gold. And as we watch the dates here over this last week or so, you can see those dark regions right there on the sun's far side. That is these regions that have just rotated into Earth view. They have lasted a far side passage, and they're not the only ones. We also have region 3957, 3968, 64. You can even see 3859. These regions are all surviving their far side passage. These will be rotating into Earth view here in this next week. So expect that solar flux to rise. Expect the big flares risk to start rising once again, and we could see the threat for radio blackouts. So amateur radio operators and emergency responders, you've got a few more days of a respite, but expect everything to get a lot more active over this next week. Now, switching to our solar storm conditions and aurora possibilities over the coming week, we are anticipating the fast solar wind from those big coronal hole that's rotating in through the Earth strike zone. At high latitudes, NOAA's expecting active to then minor storm and then possibly major storm conditions by around the 1st or the 2nd. And this is because we have that extended fast solar wind because the coronal hole is so large. So aurora photographers, if you're at high latitudes, we could see up to about a 50 or 60% chance of a major storm over the early part of the month. So get your batteries charged and get ready, because it could be a beautiful show. Now, at mid-latitudes, well, the story is almost the same. We're only expecting active to minor storm conditions, but we do have up to about, let's say maybe a 10% chance of a major storm. Likely not going to happen. But you could get, especially in through the 1st and 2nd, we could easily see minor storm conditions. But remember, we have that bright moon, so it may be a little bit difficult to catch. Now, switching to our solar flare and dayside radio blackout outlook over the coming week, we are sitting in the mid 160s for solar flux right now. We could see that dip possibly a little bit with this coronal hole as it rotates through the Earth strike zone. It kind of makes the sun be a little bit more dark than we'd expect. But it's going to recover quite quickly, especially with those new regions rotating into Earth view. NOAA's giving us about a 35 to 40% chance of M-class flares over the next day or two. This is at the R1 to R2 level radio blackout. We're sitting about moderate noise right now on the bands. That's probably going to rise over the course of this week, but will still likely stay pretty low when it comes to X-class flares. So the risk for R3 level radio blackouts will remain reasonably low. It'll easily as we move through the rest of this week. But it's next week that I'm thinking that these risks might rise a bit more. So amateur radio operators and emergency responders, you have a little bit more time to kind of enjoy the quiet, but expect the noise to start picking up. Now, switching to our radiation, storm, and polar aviation outlook over the coming week, everything is pretty much in the green this week. We are sitting at the D1 normal range. This is at flight level 360 for you aviators. It's also the S0 quiet range for everyone else. NOAA's giving us only about a 1% chance of a radiation storm at an S1 to S2 level. That'll be about over the next few days. But as the week continues and more of these big regions rotate back into Earth view, expect that risk to rise just a little bit. So you frequent flyers, and this does include air crew and you high-risk passengers, guess what? Pretty much everything is in the green this week, so you're all in the clear. So the space weather this week is definitely picking up. We do have that big coronal hole that's going to be rotating in through the Earth strike zone here over the next few days. It could give us some extended fast solar wind. So aurora photographers, if you're at high latitudes, expect to get some dazzling shows, especially as we move into the early part of February. But then aurora photographers at mid latitudes, well, you know, you might be able to catch some shows as well. It's all going to be dependent upon whether that bright moon is going to be drowning out the aurora or not. So stay on your toes, but only if you're dedicated should you chase. And now amateur radio operators and emergency responders, well, you know, we've been enjoying a little bit of quiet. I mean, when we have those big coronal holes, there's not a lot of room for big active regions. So things get a little bit quiet and you see that solar flux dip a little bit, but it's going to start rising again. And we've got those new active regions rotating into Earth view and more on their way. So expect the latter part of this week, you're going to start seeing the noise on the bands really start picking up. You're going to see the risk for radio blackouts start picking up. We might even pop a few radio blackouts, but likely it's going to stay at the R1 to R2 level. Not sure about next week, but this week you should be reasonably okay. So just hang in there. And then you GPS users, well, you know, the day side, it's not going to be too bad because we're still kind of dealing with reasonably quiet conditions, but we are going to have some extended storming on the night side of Earth. So expect that if you're going to be anywhere near aurora over the next few days, you're going to have to calibrate your magnetometers often, and you're going to need to check to make sure that your GPS reception is okay. But outside of that, everything should be all right. I'm Tamitha Skov, the Space Weather Woman. Thank you for watching.
Okay. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Audio there. Audio. Now there's audio. Yeah, my apologies that the audio on Discord disappeared. That was a feature within vMix I hadn't clicked. I just saw your email there, Steve. I just was checking that during Tamitha's over. So I thought, why is that audio disappeared? I did check all that before I came on, and it was all working nicely. So it's so frustrating that halfway through the scheme of things, the audio disappeared on Discord. But I know I can see what happened, and it is back there again. Yes, I can see the little green thing happening, so I'm back there. But I've lost a couple of people on Discord, I think, as a result of no audio. Brett disappeared and Mike 3XL disappeared. So I hope that's not because there was no audio on Discord. There was plenty of audio on 80 metres to listen to, so that would have worked perfectly well. Anyway, thanks, Tamitha, for the latest report, which goes out to Monday, I think, this next week. So it's fairly current. You're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3EKH. Now, I'm just going to run a little bit of a promo thing. Not really promo, but Carl Sagan's daughter. Let me see, where's my my video for this? There's a little promotional video thing here. It just goes for 2 minutes. Anyway, this is her book. For small creatures such as we, rituals and reflections for finding wonder, Sasha Sagan. And I've only just realised that she's been writing, and it says here that Sasha Sagan finds it everywhere, her family, around the world, and especially among the stars. Read her work, you'll have a deeper appreciation for your every step, every bite, and every breath. Bill Nye, the CEO of the Planetary Society. Sasha Sagan's parents, astronomer Carl Sagan and writer and producer Anne Durham, taught her that the natural world and vast cosmos are full of profound beauty, and that science reveals truths more wondrous than any myth or fable. When Sagan herself became a mother, she began her own haunt for the phenomena behind our most treasured occasions, our births to deaths, holidays to weddings, anniversaries and more, growing the roots into a new set of rituals for her young daughter to honour the joy and significance of each other experience without relying on a religious framework. Part memoir, part handbook and part social history for small creatures such as we is a luminous exploration of all Earth's marvels that requires no faith in order to believe, to be believed. And that's Sasha Sagan. That's the daughter of Carl Sagan. That's her book there on screen as I speak. And there is a little video thing here, which you see her talking. And let's see if I can just run that. It goes for a couple of minutes, so let's see if this works.
My father was the astronomer Carl Sagan. He and my mom, writer-producer Anne Durham, collaborated on dozens of books, essays, and a television series called Cosmos.
We know we are approaching the grandest of mysteries.
They taught me and millions of others that science wasn't just a set of facts to be compared and contrasted with other philosophies, but instead a way of testing ideas to see which stand up to scrutiny. My parents raised me to be skeptical, but not cynical. I learned that even though life is finite, really because it's finite, just being alive at all is profoundly worthy of celebration. Traditionally, the infrastructure for this kind of thing has been religion. So what about the rest of us? How do we navigate life's most important moments? Beneath the specifics of theology and culture, there is so often a kernel of a scientific phenomenon. Whether it's the changing of the seasons or the changes in our bodies, our species celebrates the same milestones across the globe. But traditions don't have to be old. You can invent one tomorrow. And each family must navigate this for themselves, find what represents the way they see the world instead of just going through the motions. My husband and I still honor the traditions of our forebears, but we do it in new ways that reflect our own worldview. My hope is to teach my daughter to face our reality as we understand it through science and find the astounding exquisiteness in it. Imagine telling a child that there is a secret code in their blood that connects them with their ancestors. Imagine if we taught children that the splendor of every long summer day is a gift from the axial tilt of the Earth. Science can provide us with that deep sense of awe we crave, that connection to each other and to the universe, that feeling of being one small part of the vast grandeur, as we all try to navigate the mysterious beauty and terror of being alive.
So there it is. Just Just a little bit of a plug there for Sasha Sagan. Why not? And I think that will be an interesting read. I actually, when I ordered that, I ended up getting 2 copies. So I don't know exactly how that's come about, but anyway, I'll actually donate the other copy. I'll donate that to the ASV's library as soon as I can get that arranged, so that'll become part of the library at ASV's library. All right, now I can see it's after 11, but who cares? I'll just quickly go into the spaceweather.com site and just run through what's happening there as I normally do. Just making sure that everything is okay. The solar wind is at 304.4 kilometres a second at a density of 0.83 protons per cubic centimetre. The current disk of the sun looks a bit like this. So there's a few sunspots happening on the disk of the sun. Just checking that's working. And the aurora australis is currently looking like this. So it's there's a little bit of a glow there over Antarctica, but probably not much to be actually seen by eye unless you're in Tasmania. You might see a subtle glow on the horizon. The coronal hole, I've got to be careful. I've been, in the past, it's been pointed out to me that I say coronial. That's me for you. Coronal hole. There's a few coronal holes happening here. And anyway, these are regions where there's extra charged particles that are spewing out into space from these regions. Okay, going back to solar space weather. Sorry, the sunspot number is currently 144. Sunspot number is currently 144. The radio sun flux is sitting at 184 solar flux units, 184, measured at a wavelength of 10.7. And that's about that in a nutshell. Just put the camera back on me there. Camera, that'll do. And final. Science news sites are abuzz with an announcement from ESA and NASA that a newly discovered asteroid 2024 YR4 has a 1.4% chance of impacting Earth on December 22, 2032. If it hit, the 100-metre space rock could cause an explosion akin to the Tunguska event. It almost certainly won't, as often happens with newly discovered asteroids. The risk of impact will probably evaporate in a few weeks as astronomers gather more data and refine the asteroid's orbit. So keep calm and check back in a month, says spaceweather.com. And then there's another article here about what's being recorded in the in trees, the rings of trees, and I've got one little picture here to show as well. We've all seen that image before. They're saying here briefly that a warning from the trees. How bad can a solar storm be? Just ask a tree. Unlike human records, which go back hundreds of years, trees can remember solar storms for millennia. The Nagoya University doctoral student Fasea Moyaki made the discovery in 2012 while studying rings in the stump of a 1900-year-old Japanese cedar. One ring in particular drew her attention. Grown in the year 774 75 AD, it contained 12% jump in a radioactive carbon-14, about 20 times greater than the ordinary fluctuations from cosmic radiation. Other teams confirmed the spike in wood from Germany, Russia, and United States, Finland, New Zealand, and wherever happened, trees all over the world experienced it. Most researchers think it was a solar storm, an extraordinary one. Often we point to the Carrington event of 1859 as the worst case scenario for solar storms, but this one here in the year 774 to 75 AD storm was at least 10 times stronger, and if it happened today, it would floor modern technology, they're saying here. There's more to this article, but I just thought I'd run that quickly through. And there's a picture here of where they also measured these trees around the world that all showed exactly the same event at the same time, scattered about the globe. All these trees that they examined showed this same event. So isn't that interesting? I thought so. All right, having said all that, let's go back to the camera one, and to finish up. And I normally say, testing 1, 2, 3. Normally I say the potentially hazardous asteroids. As of January 31, 2025, there were 2,349 potentially hazardous asteroids, but none of those are on a collision course with good old Earth at the moment. All right, it's 11 past the hour. I think I've done very well for the first session back. Thank you for listening, and welcome back to the session here every Friday night. We'll try and keep this going for a little bit longer. I don't know exactly how much further into the future I will continue with the broadcast on Friday, but I'll endeavour to every Friday night to bring the latest in events in astronomy and space exploration and whatnot. So we'll be back again next Friday at 10 o'clock to do it all again. So now let's just see if there is anybody listening that wants to call in. So I'll just get my pen and paper and see if any stations are there on 80 metres. Now, before I do, let me see if I get my mixers set up here. So I think if I bring that up, 1, 2, 1, 2, I think that's me there. Yep, that should be enough audio coming off 80 metres to feed back over the TV system. Let's see if there's anybody listening on 3541 VK3EKH listening.
VK3 Delta X-ray. VK3 SPX.
Okay, that's more than I was going to expect. Okay, VK3 Delta X-ray and VK3 SPX. Anybody else? Right, VK2NKE, November Kilo Echo, was that right? Roger, Roger. No worries, Mike Kilo Echo. All right. Whew. All right. Across to you there, Greg. VK3 Delta X-ray, VK3 EKH. Yep, righto, and acknowledge VK3 BSF.
Roger, okay, mate. All good. Good to have you back on, Clint, and Happy New Year to you. And good to hear your dulcet tones, mate. And it was a good session there tonight. Really enjoyed it, and as I always do, but very interesting about the trees and 2032. I did see something about that asteroid somewhere. Didn't read it too much, but I don't know whether I'll still be here, but anyway, who knows, mate, who knows. Anyway, good evening to everybody, and I'll just clear, Clint, thanks for doing the broadcast tonight, and good to have you back on board. Well, not back on board, but back rowing the station. VK3EKH, VK3DX. Signal's 20 over, by the way, Clint.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. VK3 Delta X-ray, VK3 EKH returning excellent stuff. Good signal from you too. I can hear the woodpecker operating in the background there fairly strongly, but you're basically all over that, so not a problem. Thanks, Greg. Good to hear you, and thanks for the kind words. Steve, VK3 SPX for Sierra Papa X-ray. Get it right, Clint. VK3 EKH. G'day, Steve.
VK3EKH, this is VK3SPX. G'day, Clint, and welcome back. Hope you had a good Christmas, New Year. Yeah, it was interesting stuff as usual. I was, you mentioned about Pluto disappearing inside Neptune's orbit on the 2nd of Feb 79. Yeah, I looked that up. I remember when that happened, but it was only inside Neptune's orbit for 20 years. So apparently it spent 20 years out of every 248 inside Neptune's orbit. So it's going to be the further out from Neptune for the next 228 years. So we won't have to worry about that for a while. Anyway, yeah, there's a few other interesting things. I had a look for the comet while Tabitha was talking, but I think I left it too late, haven't I? I've got to have a look maybe tomorrow, just after dark. I think I've got a reasonably good view of the southwestern horizon, so I must do that. But yeah, I haven't thought to do it before now, so you've jogged my mind on that, so I must get out there and do it. Yeah, there's a few other interesting things. It was Sasha Sagan seems a very eloquent young lady. I was very impressed with that. So you must tell us, after you read the book, what you think there, Clint. And yes, an example to us all, unlike that other fellow who's probably going to claim credit for bringing those astronauts home now. Typical. All right. Yeah, the other thing, I just wonder, you can tell us if you're going to go to Ballarat.
Yeah.
Clint, you said no? Okay. No. Oh, well, never mind. I might be there, so maybe next year. All right. Yes, it's a good, just a sort of a half, full duplex conversation, half with audio and half with video. It kind of works. All right. Thanks, Clint. VK3EKH, the VK3SPX.
Yeah, not a problem. Steve, VK3SPX, VK3EKH, just making sure all my levels here are right. So many things to keep an eye on here. No, at one stage I was thinking of going up to the Ballarat Hamfest only because I've got a transceiver, an old valve transceiver sitting out in the kitchen area, which I picked up for a fellow that's coming down from Sydney, David Berger, VK2. I keep forgetting his call sign. Damn it! But anyway, he's coming down to Ballarat to the Hamfest for other reasons, and the idea was that the two things were going to happen. Either I go to Ballarat and give him his transceiver thingy, or he would come past here. So he's coming down in advance, like before, like he'd probably be down by now, actually, I would say. And he's going to come out. Come out on Monday. So he's going to go up to Ballarat on Sunday, and then he'll come out and see me on Monday morning at some stage, somewhere between 10 and midday. He's going to pop by here, and he'll pick up his transceiver. It's just because my Sunday mornings are a little bit committed with doing the WIA broadcast on both on 160 and by the Melbourne TV repeater throughout the morning. So I made that as the excuse, at least anyway. So he was quite happy with that, and he'll come past on Monday to pick up his transceiver that he purchased some time ago now. It's been actually sitting in the kitchen. It's the only place I've got it available for it to sit safely. So anyway, anyway, not to worry. Yes, the comet. I haven't had a chance to see the comet yet. I hope I can get a chance to, but I sort of doubt it at this stage. And yes, I'll certainly. It's very, very hard for me to get into books. I've got so many books to read, but I'd really like to give that one there a read and see how it goes. It's not very, very large book. It's how many pages is there? There is 275 pages, so it shouldn't be too bad. Another book that I was going to review, but I'll leave that till next week, is this one here, which is just picked up from Amazon.com. Measure solar system objects and their movements for yourself. I thought that might have been an interesting thing when I get the observatory finally up and running and the telescopes. Don't ask me about where I am with the dome at this stage. It's still it's still in abeyance at the moment. That's all I can say on that one. All right. Sorry about that extra waffle. We've got VK2MKE. VK2MKE. I think your name is Mike. Let's see how we're copying you. Go ahead, Mike. VK3EKH.
Since I stumbled across your broadcast, maybe, I don't know, a year or two ago. It's been one of the things that I look forward to on a Friday night when I get the chance to have a listen. Good for you here, 10 over. Yeah, we'll take a start up just before the callbacks, but all good. That's a bit embarrassing, but I did tune out when you were talking about a comet. Well, exactly which comet were you talking about? Yeah, and again, thanks for the broadcast. VK2MKE.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Not a problem. VK2MKE, VK3EKH. The home call sign's VK3CSJ, by the way. VK3 Charlie Sierra Juliet is the home call. EKH is the official call for the Astronomical Society of Victoria. Just check it out on the QRZ.com page. The comet's the G3 Atlas comet, discovered just last year, and it has a very, very large periodical orbit, something like 160,000 years or something like that. I'm here always seeing different figures on this comet, but nevertheless, it's still visible in the sky if you've got a nice location. It's around about this time, or maybe it's too late now, but between 9:30 and 10 o'clock, looking towards the southwestern sky, just after sunset, of course, and look very carefully. You should be able to see the tail of this comet. If you've got a mobile phone that has a night vision type application or a capability, it might just work that you put your camera up towards that part of the sky, and maybe the sensitivity of the camera on its own will be enough to pick up something if your eyes can't quite see it. It's that sort of thing. But it's Comet G3 Atlas. G3 Atlas is what we were referring to earlier on. No worries, Mike. You're 5 and 9 here. 5 and 9. Just making it through above my noise floor here, so that's not too bad at all. All right, Peter, VK3BSF. Have a say, VK3EKH.
Good evening, Clint. I just got the tail end of your broadcast, and Shasta, I think it's Shasta Sagan, and her book, some interesting comments
with other philosophies, but instead a way of testing ideas to see which stand up to scrutiny.
That was certainly interesting.
My parents raised me to be skeptical but not cynical, and millions of others, that science wasn't just a set of facts.
That was okay. Who would have known, eh? Who would have gone to look in a tree to see what happened a few thousand years ago regarding solar sunspots? You find them everywhere, don't you? It's like, okay, Clint, it doesn't seem that long since I last heard you. In December, I think, and you're back. This is the first one. Okay, give you, pass it back to you, see what you got to say there. VK3KH, VK3BSF, over.
Yeah, no worries, Peter. VK3BSF, VK3EKH returning. Making sure my audio levels are okay. I've got so many levels here to keep an eye on. Yeah, no worries, Pete. Good signal from you. Not a problem at all. I know you're just local, so not a problem. And I was meant to be back last week. In fact, I think I had 4 weeks off over work, 4 weeks over Christmas off from work, and last week I got back to work, and I think by the end of last week I was still, because I automatically go into holiday mode. I have late nights. I average 3, 4, sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning. And so my whole body clock was out of whack, and getting back into the work rhythm. I think come Friday, the end of last week, I thought, I just can't. I'm too tired, too sleepy to manage doing this. So I gave it another week. So I did send out an email, but I don't think it went anywhere. I left a message on Discord to say that apologies for not coming up last week. And I did send an email out to the group of the average folks that seemed to come up, but I don't think it got out. My email does some funny things from time to time. Anyway, we're here, so I'll try and manage to be here next week as well. Thanks, Peter, and thanks, chaps, for calling in tonight. And it's good that there's been a few folks that have come up, so that's excellent. Is there any other stations before I disappear? VK3 EKH. VK1W, I missed the last 2 letters. Go ahead. Oh, I'm missing the call sign. VK, hang on a sec. Let me get the headphones. I've just moved the headphones off to the radio. And so VK1W, sorry, I missed just the last 2 letters again. Go ahead. Okay, Whiskey Radio Kilo, no worries at all. And I think I'm going to have to just quickly check that on QRZ. Wayne, that's right, Wayne. G'day, Wayne. All right. Oh dear, sorry. We're catching up. G'day, Wayne. Have a say, mate. VK1WRK. This is VK3EKH. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're not very strong here, Wayne. Not very strong. My noise floor is just under 9, about 8, around about S8, and you're kind of mingling with the noise floor here at Narre Warren. But look, I've got you down anyway as a login, so to speak. So not a problem at all. And I think you said something about you sent me a message. I'm not too sure. Let me just quickly check. Andrew, oh yeah, sorry, the Andrew VK3KIS has been listening. G'day, Andrew. And yeah, all right, no worries. I'll just put. But I understand you're suffering from a little bit of QR in your location, so it's a bit of a hassle. That I know what that's like. Thanks, Wayne, for calling in. VK1WRK, VK3EKH. Ah, thank you. Good. Okay, I shall check the YouTube out for sure. I think we're still hanging in there on YouTube. I don't think we've fallen over. Looking at vMix, the stream is still good. So